And welcome back, folks. I'm Ronald.
And I'm Ronnie.
And this is the Ron's World. Thank you so much to our subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that down below. This is the show that we talk about the things that no one really cares about, but they have very strong opinions about them. And this week's topic is about living together before you get married. Ronnie, what do you think?
You know, this is such a great topic. I think, the reason that you live together before you're married is you want to try things before you buy things. And look, I don't know about these two, but you got to try things out. Make sure that, it's all you thought it was going to be.
Well, I wish life was that simple, Ronnie. That if you just, tried something for a while, whatever length of time, it would end up that it means it's permanent and for lifelong. But that's just not how it works in the real world. People are different. Some people, they need to try some things out, but there's just no guarantees. There's no guarantees. Like, you might have tried out something and then a couple months later, you're like, you know what, I don't like this. And then ultimately, you lose something that was kind of valuable.
Hey, Barbie, I just was thinking that maybe we should get married. What do you think, girl?
I don't know, Ken. Maybe we should live together first. Kind of, try before you buy. Just kind of see if all those annoying habits you got will go away.
Look, the concept of living together before your marriage is something that you really are just helping the statistics. I mean, statistically speaking, 50% of all marriages end in divorce. Imagine if all those people lived together, they got to see what it's like actually being in the same house day in and day out with somebody. I bet that divorce rate might actually go down.
Well, there are studies that show that actually when people live together before they get married, the divorce rate is rather high, and at times it's higher than that 50-50 rate. And what happens is that people, when they get married, it's such a big commitment. It's the biggest, to most people, it's the biggest commitment they make in their life besides having children. And so when they make that commitment, they learn a lot through that process. They learn how to compromise. They learn how to maybe round some edges on some of their personality traits such that they can fit well with their spouse. I'm no marriage counselor, but that's how I see it.
Well, speaking of that, if you are a marriage counselor, please leave your comments down below so that maybe you can weigh in on this. But it's interesting, when you started explaining that, what I thought about was that concept of acquiring a taste. Like, if something isn't good the first time, why should I have to have it 2 or 3, 4 times to make sure that I like it? It's like what you're saying. Like, just because you're married, now you're forced to like all the things that you don't like about somebody. I don't understand that concept. Like, whereas if you actually live together, maybe your partner's a slob. Maybe your partner leaves dishes everywhere, or they don't do laundry, or they're a terrible cook, and you can't live with those things. Finding that out now, as opposed to, after you get married, seems like a more economical thing to do.
Hey Ken, I just wanted to tell you something that now that we're living together, I've realized, how do I say this? I don't like you.
We joke around about this topic, and we know this is a very serious topic, and we know many of the mothers and fathers of children that are thinking about cohabitating before marriage have an opinion on it, which we'd love to hear from you as well. But taking this from just a practical point of view, which is the way I like to look at things, practical. Not all of us can live in Ronald's, made-up world. Some of us have to live in reality. And the way I think about living together before your marriage is you're really doing society a favor. You're letting things kind of take their natural course to figure out.
I'm listening, Ronnie.
To figure out just what it is you love about those people. Because you're right, love should conquer all, but that love starts to fade. After marriage, you end up with that companionship, and that companionship has to be stronger than the things you don't like about living with somebody. And you don't know that until you actually try it.
Well, look at it this way. Some people, they just happen to be risk takers, or they're the people that when they window shop, they see something, they want it, and they have it, and they're the type of people that when they commit to something, hell or high water, they're going to make that happen, and that includes making compromises for their spouse, and that's what marriage is really about. It's about compromises. So living together beforehand or waiting till you get married, they're really mutually exclusive. What you really should do is fall in love and then make that commitment that you and your spouse, you're going to work together to make it work, hell or high water.
I don't know, it goes back to the acquired taste thing. I think you bring up a valid point, though, that you do need to make sure that you do love the person. That's probably a good thing, which is why Ronald and I have never lived together. But I think that
I love you, man.
It's very sweet.
Living together does not necessarily create the same atmosphere as marriage.
Ken, I don't know. I don't know if there's enough commitment from you. I
Well,
think
what
I'd
if-
rather have a ring on my finger before I let you stay in my house.
What are you, Beyonce? Put a ring on it? Come on, girl, let's do this thing.
People who've been married and people who've lived together, they know it's a completely different vibe, a completely different commitment. People are on their best behavior when they're living together because they don't want to ruffle feathers with their roommate. But when you're married, I mean, you kind of let your hair down because, hey, that other person, they're locked in with me. And so, and they get to really see your true self. So having some cohabitation before marriage doesn't necessarily show that what life is going to be like when you're actually married with the person.
Well, I would disagree. I think that you can only fake it so long, but when you live together, your true self is going to come out. It may not happen after the first week, maybe not even after the first month, but 6 months later, you've got you coming out. Oh yeah, we'll totally get married later, but let's just move on in together and see how we like each other. You can cook me some meals and all that good stuff, and I can cook you some meals, and we can just see if we like living together.
Well, you said you loved me, and now you just need to find out if you like me? I don't know. I need to think about that.
Barbie, calm down. Get it together. Get back here, girl. I don't know how all of a sudden I became Southern, but I like it. Come on, girl. Let's get back in the house. And when you live together for a long enough period of time, you're going to make sure that you love all the things about the person, or at least enough of the things about the person that you're going to be able to persevere once you do finally say I do. Because think about how much money is spent for people who don't do that. And then they get divorced.
When you get married, I mean, there's that gulp factor. And when you have a gulp factor on something, it changes behavior and makes you feel like a heightened sense of obligation to compromise and create something that's you and your spouse. So it's not just you anymore. Like if you're living together, you're not married, it's just you. It's all about you. But when you get married, it's about us.
Ronald brings up some really good points, and obviously I bring up some great points as usual, but I'd love to hear from our audience. What do you think? Should you live together before you're married? Leave your comments down below. Ronald and I get together and we reply to every single comment, and we want to hear what you think about this topic. And until next week, I'm Ronnie.
And I'm Ronald.
See you next week.